The self-confessed property obsessive TV presenter Sarah Beeny has gone from a flat to a mansion to a life in the country with marriage, 4 kids and a successful career to boot.
And last year, of course, Sarah underwent a double mastectomy after she was diagnosed with breast cancer, something she describes as a perfect crash moment in her life. She's brought out a wonderful new book, Sarah Beeny, The Simple Life, How I Found Home. And we join her now from her home in Somerset. How are you doing, Sarah?
Fine, thanks. Fine. How are you?
Really good. Now, you fled the city, the same part of the world as I'm from. You went down to, you know, what some city dwellers might think is the middle of nowhere, and you created a whole new life for yourself, for your partner, and for your 4 boys. Is it something that you would recommend?
Yes, but I wouldn't say... I mean, there's great benefits to cities and there's great benefits to the countryside. They're just different. Someone once said to me that the countryside, it appeals to your soul, but the town fills your heart. And I kind of think... they're just different. They're just different, and they have wonderful benefits, both of them. But I guess it was the right time in our lives. And we had a home in the countryside. I was brought up in the countryside, and then we had a home in Yorkshire near Hull for 20 years, which was Rise Hall, which is a wedding venue. But as it was a wedding venue and it was full of weddings all the time, we ended up being based in London. So I guess the big move came when I said to the kids, right, we're going to decamp and they're going to go to school in the countryside. We're going to live in the countryside. And so, I mean, it's a little bit tongue-in-cheek, A Simple Life, because it isn't very simple. But it's more simple than it was, because we sold Rise Hall and we sold our home in London, and we all kind of went to one place, which is where we are in Somerset.
And life in Somerset for 4 boys. I can imagine that there have probably been some moments where they've thought, why aren't we back in the rough and tumble of South London? But there have also been amazing highlights, haven't there? I mean, tell us the story about you driving past Glastonbury and talking to the boys about the fact you might buy them tickets.
Yeah, I mean, that was about a couple of years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, maybe 2 years ago, and we drove past Glastonbury, and I said, oh, do you think we should get tickets for Glastonbury? None of us have been to Glastonbury. I've never been to Glastonbury. And anyway, they said, no, Mum, we're not going to go to Glastonbury until we play there. And I laughed, and then 2 years later, they have a rock band with my husband, Graham. So the 5 of them have this rock band. And 2 years later, they entered a competition, won it, and this year they played at Glastonbury and smashed it. It was amazing. They performed like 3 or 4 times, and it was packed. And since then, they've been on this kind of weird roller coaster ride. So they've been releasing songs, and they've got their 8th one, which is One Shot, was out on last Friday, and they played at Boomtown, they played at Carfest, they've got a UK tour that's starting in September.
Amazing.
They've got an amazing manager who came along. Anyway, it's all just literally blown up. So, yeah, I mean, amazing. What an amazing... They're having a great time.
Sarah, why is it your 4 sons...
You never know when... Oh, yeah.
Why is it your 4 sons and your husband? Why are you not in this band?
Well, I'd have offered. I thought a backing singer, that would be... Yeah, do you know, I guess... I don't know. Do you know, that's a really good question. They drive it together, and I kind of like watching it, actually. It's really enjoyable for me to be able to let them do that. I spend the time in my greenhouse, which I really enjoy.
So when you offered to be the backing singer, what did they say?
They went, yeah, Mum. I offer to carry things, actually, as well. I'm like, oh, like a roadie. I'll say, I'll carry it. And they just go, Mum, you shouldn't lift that note. I'm like, it's like having their granny there. They're very patient with me. But I am their super fan, so I'm at the front going, yeah.
That's your main role. Sarah, you describe The Simple Life as tongue-in-cheek. On the back of the hardback version, it says it would be 4 years, a pandemic, a terrifying diagnosis, and a host of magical adventures before I finally unpacked the last of those boxes on our beautiful new family home. Life has been complicated for you, hasn't it? You say that midlife, menopause, cancer diagnosis, that's not a simple or straightforward thing. You wear it very lightly now, and you're full of good cheer this morning, but there have clearly been difficult times that you've got through.
Yeah, I mean, everyone has difficult times, don't they? And I suppose, yeah, I mean, last year, so a year ago, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. But yeah, I'm kind of somehow difficult things have happened to me all my life, you know, and the way I handle those is to use it as the compost for the next stage, the success. You know, it's hard at life. It isn't always easy, but I'm glad it's not always easy, because that teaches you that light and shade is what you need in life. But yeah, I mean, it's sort of, I like to kind of rub out all the not so good bits and just take the. We're all in charge of our own edit, aren't we? And I prefer to rub out the difficult bits and just remember all the good bits. And that's my personal way of doing it, which is everyone's entitled to do it whichever way they want. But yeah, I mean, it was little bit gruelling. I mean, I had a very lucky diagnosis, and I'm very lucky to live in the UK with the amazing treatment that you could get, with amazing research, and it to be the year it is and not 40 years ago. And so I feel very fortunate, and I know that other people aren't as fortunate as me, but I feel that speaking out about it might just make one person go to the doctor, and the earlier the diagnosis, the better the outcome. So, yeah, I kind of think if you can make some good out of something that isn't so good, then that's a good thing.
Absolutely right. And I love that phrase, that you use the bad times as compost to grow the next stage of your life. It's a wonderful thought to end on.
Amazing.
Thank you so much, Sarah.
Thank you, Sarah. Good luck with the book and with the band.
Thank you very much indeed. Thank you.
Great to see you. Thanks so much.